welcome. I know there's likely to not be a lot of folks on this deal because it's brand new. I just set this up where we can stream. We don't always have a lot to stream. We can't really stream. We're outdoor channel. We can't stream that much. But in my garage here, we can stream some fur putting up. So I've got here with me a couple of coyotes that I caught yesterday. So I got a couple of coyotes I caught yesterday, and last night I got them all cleaned up, got them washed, and I'm gonna go through and show you guys how to put them up. I don't know. I doubt we have any viewers on this thing, but it's a fun deal, and I hope to kind of grow this over time. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Just want to go over here. This is a PVC fleshing beam I made myself. Need a few tools, pair of pliers for pulling ears. This is my knife. There's a lot better ones out there, but that's the one I use. Aaron gave it to me as a gift, and I really appreciate it. Then we'll need a fur brush and some gloves and a towel. So I do all my stretching on wire stretchers, so I'll show you guys how to do all of that. Let me scoot this camera back just a little bit, so that way you guys have a view of my workstation here, not just me and the fleshing beam. There we go. That looks much better. Okay, perfect. Just kind of clean this off here. So I caught two coyotes, and one of them is a very nice coyote. This is an extremely nice coyote. It's got nice thick fur. He's not rubbed anywhere. It's got just great pattern to him. He's still just a little wet from washing him yesterday. I didn't have a real high temp today to help dry him, and just a great dog all around. But the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna get him nice and flat here and feel down him. See, right here's a sand burr, so we're gonna try to brush that out of there. If I can't get it brushed out, I'm just gonna pull it out. Right there. Right there. So you want to get all this type of stuff out before you flesh, because get in the trash bucket, because it will blow a hole in your pelt. Here's another one. So, and right here behind their neck is the worst. This is where they'll have a bunch of them. This one's down there in the soft fur and the downy fur. Come on, you. This is how you get an extra buck or two out of them. So I think that's gonna be pretty much good. He's got a big old one. Ouch. Golly, dude. There's one. He's got a big old one here in his tail. We'll get that out of there. I thought I felt another one further down, but I guess not. Okay. Flip them over, check the other side. What's that? No? Okay, perfect. So now comes the gross part. We're gonna need some gloves. When I checked my line today, I didn't have any coyotes. We have a big cold front moving in, so I had a lot of activity the last 2 days, and then nothing today, so I'm not too surprised. Shit this before I get crud all over it. So I'm not too surprised. But first thing we got to do, he's been drying fur out all day, so we've got to roll him out. Nice and cold. We've had him out here in this cold garage all day. It's been good and chilly out. This one doesn't actually have that much fat on it, but we still gotta scrape the membrane off of him. See all this stuff here, it's all gotta go. Every bit of it's gotta go. Pull his ears right side out because that's the first thing we do. There's an ear. Might need to trim down that little ear there a little bit. Left that one a little big. Get this one. Too bad. There we go. That one's perfect. That one's just how you want them to be. This one I left just a little too small. So we got them right set out now. We gotta get the arms. I'll leave the arms on them real long so I can trim them up when I board. So see a big old long arm on them. Hey, I got 7 people watching. Hey, check that out. If you just joined, we are fleshing a coyote. I'm going to show you fine folks how to do this. Okay, so we will put them on the fleshing beam, just like that. So we got his ears here now. That's the first thing we'll do. Fold up this towel. I always use a towel to kind of brace against. Oh, flies down. I always use a towel to kind of brace against because I'll be putting a lot of pressure on that. Okay. So right here, I left the ear just a little too long right here, so we'll sharpen this up real quick. We'll just hone this up just real fast so it slices through real good. These work sharps, it don't take too much. And this, I haven't been using this knife on any bone or anything like that. I've got a crusty old fillet knife I use when I skin these suckers. I have to get someone in here to read that. I got to get this done. Yep, it's a coyote. So this year I didn't do a very good job when I skinned it, and it's still got a lot of cartilage on it. So I'm gonna have to cut through this cartilage here, just like so. Get all that off there, and then take a pair of pliers, start trimming it away. Okay, so that's see that side let go. Now I gotta do the exact same thing on this side. Right there. Okay. And then just take your pliers and you start pulling. Pull right there. Pull right there. Get it over here on the side real good. There we go. Just like that. So that's the cartilage that comes off the inside of the ear. And then you're left with a nice, beautiful triangular earpiece. Just like that. So this other side should go a lot better because I did a lot better job on this side when I was skinning it. So all I'll need to do is just get some cuts started here. Yep, all I need to do is get a couple of cuts started here, like right there. Just get it started. All it takes is just a little bit. There we go, just like that. And then grab a hold of it and give it a tug. Just like that. See, that one came out perfect. So it's nice white ear on both sides and perfect triangular earpiece just right there. So now we'll tuck those back in. Tuck all those back in there. I gotta see what folks are saying. This is my first one of these. Hurting the coyote for no reason. No, this coyote's been dead for a couple of days, folks. And a lot of people, say stuff like that don't really quite understand what's going on. So coyotes are a major problem in my area. You know, there's a lot of them, and here it's legal to trap them. So that's what I do. I've got a few foothold traps, and I've got 5 there. I got 1 here put up, a couple of badgers, a few skunks, raccoons, stuff like that. Trapping has been a way of life for a long time, and I myself just recently got into it. But you don't want to just shoot them and leave them and waste them. The fur is worth a little bit of money, and I'm not just going to kill stuff just to kill it. To me, the value of these animals is the fur. Deer hunting, the value is the meat and the antlers, but on these, the value is the fur, and nothing looks better than a nice finished coyote. And if you stick with this long enough, this part here won't take too long. If you stick with this, I'll show you what these animals look like once they get all boarded up and brushed out. They're gorgeous animals. But so we just start here. You gotta lean into the board pretty good right there. You just start there. You start pushing. See how I got this little white patch started right there? That's the meat that's above the ear. And you push that off all the way to the ear. Just like that. So since I got there, I got this little cartilage here. We'll go ahead and just trim this off nice and neat with my knife. Yeah, see, that went down on the ear there. I didn't do a very good job on that one. And then you roll them around. You do the other side. Just like that. Okay. So once you get that big chunk of meat off there, you pull them up and you get to work on the membrane that holds all the fat. So on coyotes, this one doesn't have a lot of fat. The next one I have to do is a fat old joker. There's a big fat coyote, tons of fat on that one. So this is just skin here. But the membrane starts and you kind of pull it and you can see it, and it goes all the way down the length of the whole coyote. So we have to push all that off. Now on your fleshing knife, you got the dull side and you got a sharp side. On coyotes, you don't hardly use the sharp side at all. You just take the dull side and you just start pushing. Well, like I said, on this one up top, there's really not hardly anything to push because it's such a dang skinny coyote. Here's a little bit. It's all this red right here. It's all got to go. There it goes. Just like that. Now there's YouTube channels for trapping are a dime a dozen. And if you want really good detailed information, this is a good place for you to come because I don't know a lot about it, but I know enough. And any of you folks watching, I do appreciate it. I just hope to kind of show you guys what trapping and stuff is all about. It's not clean work by any means. You just gotta kind of roll with it best you can. Okay, so since that's nice and cleaned up, we'll move up here almost all the way to the arms. So this is one of the arms, and just above it is where a big part of this membrane starts. Excuse me. So I'll show you guys right here. So you see how that just rolls down? I don't know if, yeah, perfect. You can see that on the camera. That just rolls down like that. That's what we want. And you just keep turning them and working your way down the board. This one's got a thin skin. I have to be careful. You don't want to, you know, people that are really new to fleshing, they have a tendency to put a lot of holes in the animals during this part. You don't really want to do that because then it hurts their value. You know, this pelt might be worth, it's not a lot of money, but you catch a lot of coyotes. This pelt here might be worth, it's so good, it could be worth, you know, 15 bucks if I do this right. But if I start putting holes in it and stuff like that, it's not going to be worth anything. Okay, so we got all that big stuff pushed down to behind the arms. So now, the peak of this beam, I'm just going to put this arm right on it. And right there, see that big old strand of meat? It's got to go. Just carefully, like that. Just so careful. This here is part of that membrane I was talking about earlier. So we'll flick that off there. That should be good. And then, so we'll take it off of that arm. Looks like I got a little bit of gunk right here in the middle. It's kind of the mid seam of the coyote. Get some of that down. Scrape some of that down from underneath that arm. Okay. Then we'll come do this arm. Oh, looks like I got a little sand burn there. I'll have to get that, make a mental note of that and get that out of there here in a bit. Okay. Cool deal. All right, so we got pretty much almost done with this thing now. We're getting down here to the back where it flows and goes real easy. Let me check the comments. Where did he get that coyote? They're so smart and just like dogs. So there's a comment there saying that it looks simpler to flesh than other animals, and you're right, it is. It is way simpler to flesh. Raccoons are a pain. They got fat and you have to shave them. Beavers are even worse. I seen too somebody say that we shouldn't have to do this anymore. It's not that we shouldn't have to, it's that this has been done for a long time. And while I understand there are practices today that have been done for a long time that don't really need to be done for anymore, this is a way of life for a lot of folks. And a lot of times people will look at this and be like, oh, it's gross, or it's like serial killer type shit and stuff like that. It's really not. It's really not. It's just a way to help the deer herds and a way to help, you know, cattle ranchers and stuff that are local, and kind of thin out some of these coyotes. Out here, there's so many of them. I mean, so many of them. That, like, this place where I've got my trap set right now, I caught 2 yesterday, and then I had a couple of misses today. We've got a big cold front coming in, so I'm probably not gonna have too much activity for a few days. Oh man, we're down to one guy. I don't really understand how the streaming works too much. This is my first stream, so we'll see how it goes. If it goes well, I'll keep doing it. I'd like to. Kind of is a lot of fun just sitting up here talking about coyotes and trapping. Having a pretty good time, to be honest. I was gonna be out here anyways. I thought I ought to fire up the stream. I just got it where I could do these streams, and I couldn't hardly wait to try it out. So if you're that one guy there watching, I sure do appreciate you. Ooh. Golly, this one's got a thin skin. Then I can't hardly believe it. So we're getting down to the bottom where you start scraping it off the end. And I always end up scraping off the belly side first, where you can see these bumps here. These are nipples, and then this is where the penis is. But that's where you can really run into some trouble really run into some trouble when you're fleshing. You can start poking holes and stuff on accident. See right here, I got just this tiny little chunk of meat. Tiny little chunk of meat. All right, so now we'll start working our way onto the back and working our way down this leg. Looks like I didn't get all the meat off of him when I skinned that leg off. So I got just a right here, right there, and right there. I got just a little bit of meat that's got to come off. And that's one nice thing about pushing these, is that just pops right off of there, just like that. If you were cutting, with the sharp side, you'd have to shave it. But since coyotes are able to be pushed, you just push down on it and it comes right off, just like that. See, I'm getting where I got this big old sheet. I usually like to cut this off and then go back to pushing, just like that. I'm about to be done with this sucker. This might be my fastest one. Sometimes they're a real pain in the ass, but this one was kind of no trouble at all. Get this off of there. Whoops. I have to pick that up here in just a minute. So all this pink's got to go. Yeah, I can leave this white stuff. That's just the membrane. There's no fat under it here. But all this pink crud here's got to go. Gotta go. Just like that. I don't know what's up with this coyote. He's kind of got a blue hue to him. I don't know how he could not be prime. There we go. There we go. That was a good push. Good last push. Trim that up there. Okay, so now all I got is this piece right above the tail. So we'll work them up and then push him right off the tail. Come on, you. There we go. I've got just a couple little wispy strings here. Those are going to come off just like that. All right. Let's make sure we don't have no fat in the tail. We shouldn't. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So if you're that one guy there, this is what you should end up with. Got a little bit of fat there. A nice, white, clean fur. Good long legs on it. Looks great. So bear with me for just a second. Let me move some of my tools out of the way, and then I'll get a stretcher out and show you guys how I board them. So I use wire stretchers. Let's see. New homes are being built they like, ganging up on pets. 20% coyote. Ah, you're the one guy. You have a 20% coyote dog. That's cool. That's cool. Let me grab a stretcher real quick. I'll do this sitting down. Okay. So these are the fur stretchers I use. And it's a wire stretcher. And coyotes, you don't really get too much stretch out of them. But the part that's worth money is the back. So that's the part we pay extra attention to. So all you do, take that sucker like that, and put them on there. You want to kind of get them centered up best you can. You just pull them on. Oop. Just like that. We'll have to dress him up just a little bit because looks like I done got him on there crooked. So this one's gonna need dressed up just a little bit because it is such a big coyote. Good grief, that's a long one. Okay, so we're gonna do a few things just to kind of increase the, the professional look on this fur. Like we are going to pin our ears. So we're gonna pin our ears just like this. And I just use a stapler for that. And then I'll show you how we are gonna dress the legs. Pinning the ears will be the very last thing we do. So now that I've got him here, he's pretty much stretched out as far as he's gonna go. What I need to do is get this leg here and this leg here. These are the two back legs, and get them pulled down, about yay far, so we actually get quite a bit of room out of them. And these strips here, these are like a spike that holds the tail and the legs. What we'll do is we will, on the left two, we're gonna put just a little bit of borax and let my borax sit out so it gets nice and clumpy. And we're just gonna put a little borax on that leg to help dry it, because this leg is gonna be covered by the other leg. We're just going to take it and we're going to poke those spikes just through that skin a little bit. Come on. They're a lot tougher animals than people think they are. Sometimes it takes quite a bit of force to get those poked on there. There's 3 spikes, and on the middle one and on the left one you put the left leg, and then on the middle one and the right one you put the right leg. So the right leg's always going to have second grip on second grip on that middle stake, on that middle hook. But to get it on there just right, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Then you push that down, and the tension holds it in place just like that. Okay, so while we got it on this side, I'm going to show you how I dress these legs up. So this bulge right here, get this where you can see. So this bulge right here is the elbow. And I'm going to cut this off just above the elbow right there. Just like that. That's trash. So now when this hangs, I'm going to have to put a little borax here so that when this hangs, it hangs down like that. And this don't get rotten and slip. California, Bel Air all the time. They're skittish at first, but you can get their trusted over time. Like taxidermy for a few kinds of animals. It's interesting. Well, I appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you watching. This is, these animals, like if I was to skin them with the feet on, you can taxidermy them. You can absolutely taxidermy them, but that is not the purpose of these. These go to be made into, hats, gloves, muffs, ear muffs, neck gaiters, stuff like that. That's what these animals are for. And I'll hold back a few to make hats out of later, but these are for being worn, not being, like taxidermy per se. So I got those trimmed up, and this is just 20 mil team borax. It's just regular old stuff. We're just gonna get that all up on that arm. Oh man, I opened a new box of this the other day, so it's not real clumped up good yet. A lot of times you let that moisture get to it, it clumps up real good. Okay, so that part's done. Now, we're gonna flip this around so you can see the face here. See kind of what I'm gonna do on the face. Turn that just a little bit. You should use the leg for wallets or something. That's the problem. That's the problem. People don't want a fur wallet. Wallets, the material that trappers make into wallets is beaver tails. You can catch beavers and they have a real scaly skin on their tail, real tough. And that's what gets made into wallets. But the legs, like it's not up to me what folks make out of them. It's not like I can make a hat out of the leg. You know what I'm saying? Skinned a skunk but botched it. Skunks are tough. Skunks are real tough. They're super fatty. They got a ton of fat on them. So up here, I'm just trimming this lip off because there's no use for it and it takes forever to dry. But you trim it right up to the whiskers. You trim it right up to the whiskers, and that way you're not cutting them whiskers off. Like if I was gonna make this into a wall hanger for like decor and stuff for education, that I would probably go ahead and leave that lip on. I might even leave the bottom jaw on. It was roadkill found fresh. Oh, that's rough. I don't think you probably botched that. I think probably the whatever hit it botched it. I don't think that's your fault at all. Okay, so on the tail here, get this where you can see again. So on the tail here, the tail is split, right? But I don't want it folding up and getting rancid. So I'm gonna take a clump of this borax and run it just right down that tail, all the way to the tip. That way it gets nice and dry, good and quick. And then take my other spike here on the middle of the tail and catch that tail right there. There we go. Okay, so now last step is pinning up the ears. Pinning up the ears. Move that there. Roadkill. Okay, used to haven't left no more comments. All right, so pinning up these ears is kind of the hard part. So since I'm using a wire stretcher instead of a board stretcher, I can't just like pin them to the board. I have to staple them. So the trick is to get the top one first and get that skin good and tight. There we go. And then that'll let you get those side ones real easy like. There we go. Because all you really need it to do is you just need it to stay there while it's drying that first night, because tomorrow morning I'll have to flip all these coyotes. There we go. Just like that. Perfect. All right. That one's done. Those arms hanging down good. Just like that. All right. We're going to hang them over here to dry. Oh no. Dang it. So when I hung that one, the top lip come undone. I gotta roll that nose back over. I have to get them just right on there, just so that doesn't happen. Come on, you. Why are you doing this now? Good grief. This is the next one we'll do. That's the next one we'll do. I didn't know you were supposed to use borax. Yeah, so the borax just helps keep some of that stuff from going rancid and slipping. So that slippage is the enemy of the fur market, right? So this hair, if I let it go rancid, you can just take your hand and pull it right out. But as it is, it's tough as boot nails right now. I'm having trouble getting this sucker to hang correctly. You have to bear with me just a sec because I cannot let this face get messed up. Otherwise, I end up with more problems than I started with. Come on, you. Why are you doing this to me? I haven't had this issue on any of these things. But now I'm having it on this one. I tell you what I can do. I'm just going to hang it upside down. So since I'm having so much trouble on this one, here's what I'll do. I'm going to move this tail all the way to the very tip. I'm gonna move this tail one all the way to the very tip of the tail, and then I'm gonna hang this coyote upside down instead of right side up like I've been hanging them all. Ingenuity. A little of that'll go a long ways. There we go. There we go. Very nice. Very, very nice. There we go. So now it's hanging upside down like that. And it should dry. No problems. See there? Good and stretched out. Good deal. I think that'll do. I'll hang that sucker up. Perfect. Cool. All right, so. Thanks for the sub. Perfect. So now we're going to do this one. So this coyote is a little bit different. When you do this for a while, you kind of get a sense of like how old animals are, how tough they are. This coyote is a female and she was old. So when they get real old, their teeth kind of get busted up, get real nasty, and their fur gets this like frazzled, frizzly type texture to it. And this one was one of those ones. I mean, like all her whiskers and everything are still good, but she's got some scars and like right here. So she has a big old gash right here in her chest. That's not from where I shot her. She was shot in the head. I always shoot my animals in the head. Some guys just kind of hit them with a bat. I don't really got it in me to do that, but this one, I mean, you can tell the difference in the fur immediately. I mean, it's just like a real short, dense, frizzly, kind of gross type fur. I probably won't get very much money for this one, but some money's better than no money. But we'll do the same process like we did on the last one, except this one has way more fat, so I actually have to push some fat off instead of just, you know, kind of scraping that membrane. This one's actually going to get some fat pushed off. And I did a real good job on the ears of this one too, so you'll be able to see how to do the ears real good. But we'll go ahead and brush her out just like the last one. You can see here, so you can see where this fur is super nice and good, and then you get here and it's just, you know, grizzled. So this is what's called rubbed. A lot of times they're going under fences, fighting each other. This will get rubbed, and this is why this coyote won't sell for that much. The portion that gets used on a coyote, so this is the tail right here. The portion that gets used is from here to here. So I mean, it's like most of the coyote gets used. All this fur in this area is what's used, and people love that. She must have had a full. Yeah, this one had a full life for sure. This one had a full life. She was at the end of it. If I didn't get her, the weather was gonna get her for certain. And weather, I'll tell you this, weather is a lot more cruel than I am. Starving to death is way worse than getting a quick bullet in the head. But this one, I mean, just a big old coyote. I mean, look at her. She's way bigger. But yeah, so this one, that's what degrades the value on these. So let me feel for sandburrs and stuff. And she's got a little bit of blood in this ear still. I need to brush that out of there, because those little blood clots and stuff will burr up your fleshing. Flip her over, do the other side. She's got a lot of fat. You'll see, if you stick with me here just a sec, you'll see how much fat this one's got compared to the other one. Got a bit of a cold. So just right away, look at this. Just clumps of, you know, cold frozen fat from being out here in my garage. That other one didn't have anything like this. So this is going to be quite a process to get this one clean. This is going to take me a while. Good grief. She's just thick with fat. super thick with fat. And so that fat too, so this is where the arms are. That fat makes it really hard to skin them, and it makes it really difficult to get all the meat off, specifically in that spot between those front legs. And it's just one of them deals that's like tough to do. Tough to do. Oh man, I got this all boogered up here. Push these ears through from the front. Come on. There we go. So there's an ear, and there's an ear. All right, cool. This one's like heavy with fat. Okay, perfect. So this here's already started to dry a little bit. That's not what we want to see. I think I might have had the temperature up just a little too much. Hey, look. So this coyote right there, this coyote has actually been shot before. In the neck, actually. So this hole here is where I shot her last night. There's actually a little bit of lead right there from where I shot her. Come on, you. Yep, it's a little bit of lead from where I shot her. And then, so that's this bullet hole. And then this is a spot where somebody else shot her. I'll be dang. Heck, it might have been me. I don't know. So I hunt them too. I don't just trap them. But that's the type of stuff you see on these things. Like, they are tough animals. Tough animals. Girls usually need more fat for babies. That's true. That's true. But this is not the season where they're going to be having babies. So coyotes pup sometimes twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year, but it's always when the food supply is highest, right? So these animals were eating dead cows. That's not a real consistent food source, and the animals know that. So they're not like on that for having pups. They pup in the spring, like January, February is breeding season for the most part, and then they'll breed and have a litter of pups, and they might have another one in the summer, and they might have another one right before winter sets in. But so this animal, I mean, she don't have pups out there nowhere waiting on her, that's for sure. And you can always tell stuff like that too, like from how swollen their nipples will be, because I hunt in the summer too. But like I said, it's a deal where it's not so much like fur taking them in the summer. It's like they're eating my turkeys, or they're eating baby deer and stuff like that. Okay. Keep posting those questions. I kind of like answering them. All right. So, like last time, we're going to take care of these ears first, and then we'll get this meat right here off. That's got to come off, or it'll get hard and gross. So, I put all my tools too far from me. So you just get you a little bite with the pliers and start working. This ear is going to be trouble. I can already tell this one's going to be trouble. I'm probably about to mess this ear up something fierce. Ooh. I can just get a good grab on it. If I could just get the right bite with the pliers. Oh, that's not it. You gotta be careful not to cut yourself doing this too. You can make a mistake with a knife pretty easily. There we go. There we go. Now we'll get a grab. There, perfect. Okay, so this one might actually be ready to start pulling. Just with that little bit of coaxing. Perfect. All right. So now we get us a good grab there, right in the middle. And we start pulling that ear off. Uh-oh. Oh, I almost messed it up. I made it work. There we go. That's the cartilage out of that ear. Nice triangular ear. Looks like, okay, I need to grab that. That can't stay on. That's cartilage there. It's got to go. I'm going to have to shave it. Dang it. You know, we take so much time and care with these animals. We go through the effort of catching them. So we do our best to make sure that we take care of them well and get every dollar we can out of them. Sometimes, you know, it might be the difference of doing this with the ears and not doing with this with the ears that makes the difference on whether or not we even sell the pelt. Some years people don't want to buy them just because there's no demand for them, and it makes it really tough to be a trapper. Really tough to be a trapper, because you know, if there's no demand for your catch, you're not going to make any money on it, and that's no fun for anybody. I think I did this one just right. This ear's going to pull off clean. Look at that. Wow. Oh wow, I did that one so good. Check that out. Whoo! Clean looking ear. All right, we'll tuck those back down in there. Put any more questions on there? Do you go look for the pups and take them into a wildlife center? What do you do if you've shot a mom on accident? Looks like you do a good job. How long you been skinning? Okay, so coyotes have massive ranges. I mean, miles and miles of range. So even like when I do see that I've shot a mom, it's not a big deal. There's so many of them that just reproduce like this. Coyotes, you know, have 5 to 7 pups in the litter. Only usually half of those survive naturally anyways. And then if those don't survive, that's more food for the mothers in other areas. Like the mother in the same area that hunts the same territory is competing with this mother. And if this mother's pups don't survive, or if she's not there taking food from that to feed her pups, then there's a higher chance of the other mother's pups surviving. But coyotes are vicious. I mean, they'll eat each other. And if like one of the sounds we use when we hunt is coyote pup distress. That's messed up, man. They come out of the woodworks sometimes when you play that sound. And they're not like coming to defend the pups. They're coming to kill those pups and probably eat them. What happens if you leave the cartilage on? So if I leave the cartilage on, the fur on the ears will slip, and then it won't be any good, and your pelt will be worthless because it makes you look like you're not professional. I've been doing this skinning coyotes and putting them up. This is my second year. I used to skin them and sell them whole carcass, where we'd have a buyer come down every 2 weeks, and I would just freeze the whole coyote and then sell the whole coyote to them. But skinning them like this and, you know, getting all the grease and stuff off of them gives you, you know, $7 more a hide. So when I was selling them peak, I would make like $25 to $30 on them. And then the market fell out after this company called Canada Goose quit selling coyote fur around the trim on their coats. Well, now the market is like $7 to $15. But you know, if I have 100 of them, that's a lot of money. That's $1,000 worth of coyotes. And doing stuff like this just helps improve your dollars on them. So we'll get all this gunk here. This stuff's all got to come off. I do a pretty good job of skinning, because when you skin them good, it makes this part so much easier. When you do a good job skinning, it makes the fleshing almost easy. Almost easy, because sometimes you run into problems like this where, like, see this here meat has dried a little already, so I'll just have to trim that off with my knife. And then we'll come up here and we'll start pushing all the fat off of her.
Happens if you leave the cartilage on. Oh, I missed your question there. Do you go look for the pups and take them into a wildlife center? No.
No. With coyotes, I understand why people do that because, you know, a lot of folks try to say, like, this is not compassionate and stuff like that. And it's not. I'm killing them for fur. It's not meant to be compassionate. And coyotes out here, they're a nuisance, so I'm not going to go try to save their pups. I'm simply not going to do it. And not, like, I probably couldn't even find them, much less save them. And we don't have, like, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. You know, there's no wildlife centers out here. We have a dog rescue like 3 miles out of town. I don't live in town, but outside of town. We have a dog rescue like 3 miles out of town where it's just flooded with animals. And they're commingling with coyotes all the time, getting diseases from them. I mean, it's a real bad issue. Okay, so there's a ton of fat under this one. So this is gonna be interesting. Oh my gosh, you see that right there? All that's gotta come off. Good grief. Good night, that's a lot of fat. Wow. This is going to take a while, and this is going to be a mess. Look at that. Good night. Oh man, I forgot to flick the arms out of it too. Come on. There it goes. There's that one. Okay. So when I do this, I don't just skin one spot all the way to the bottom. I turn them as I go. And that helps with keeping the grease from getting all over. Woo. She's a thin-skinned old gal. So that helps keep from getting the grease all over your fur because that will cause slippage as well. Man, I don't know. This one, I may not get very much money out of this one. I'm scraping it too thin already, I can see. So right here, if you can see, I can't tell if you can see on the camera, but right here, there's like these brown patches are where I'm scraping the hide too thin. I'm not even using much pressure. I may have to totally back off the pressure even, because that fat is just so thick on there. Good night. See, it's just coming off on my knife now. I got a bucket here that I throw all my fat in.
What's that question? What's your favorite animal to trap?
Bobcats. Bobcats are my favorite animal to trap. I've only caught one, and they are just so wary of going into anything. And coyotes are the same way, but coyotes, there's a lot more of them than there are bobcats, so it's a lot easier to catch them. But bobcats, they're such a pretty animal. And they're actually worth like the most out of all the animals I trap. They're worth the most money. I can get several $100s for a really good bobcat. Good grief. That is a lot of fat on this one. I don't know how this is going to come out. This one might be tough. See that right there? All that stuff there, I got to get all that off. It's all got to come off. Gosh dang it. My towel's all jacked up.
Happens if you don't leave the cartilage on.
Okay. All right. Just checking to make sure I'm up to date on your questions. Make sure I get all this stuff off. Because like this fat, the fat in the cartilage is what will ruin this hide. Get this off there. There we go. Fat and heat are the enemy when it comes to putting up fur. You want everything to dry nice and slow. You don't want it to be too hot in your drying shed. I mean, I have a little space heater on over there. If you're hearing any background noise, that's what that is, that space heater. And that is just to keep it warm enough in here that while I'm working, I'm not dying of frost. Good grief. Look at this. Okay, so I got some big chunks of meat here. Oh, man. Let's turn this and see if I can. There we go. There we go. Look at that. We're making progress. So I've let these furs, one thing that helps with the fleshing is letting them get real cold for a little while. And it helps that fat just kind of solidify. Where you see that right there? That is fat. That is fat. That's all fat and membrane. That's all meat and fat and membrane. It's all got to come off of there. And right here, oh yeah, there we go. Perfect. That went exactly how I was hoping it would go. Perfect. This is a, this is a learned skill. This is not an easy thing to do. There we go. Okay, so that is all coyote fat. Gross. And you see how nice and clean that leg is now? Ah, that couldn't have come out more perfect if I had been practicing for an hour. Perfect. Okay, so let's turn this back where I can get, so this is its shoulder. Let's turn this back where I can push some of the shoulder down. Just like that. Scrape that off of there. Turn it to its back, where I can scrape some of this. There we go. Good night. There's a lot of fat on this thing. When I was skinning this coyote last night, I knew that this was going to be a total pain in the butt. And I was right. But I didn't realize how big of a pain in the butt it was going to be. So now I got that leg there. I can just push all this garbage right off, oops, all this garbage right off that leg, just like that. Look at that. Look at that. Tell you what, that went great. Okay, so see all that there? That's got to come off too. Looky there. Perfect. Perfect. Just so careful to not poke holes in the pelt. So careful. Did you put any more questions on there? Came off. Yes, it did come off nicely, and I am not going to tell you where I'm at, other than that I'm in the middle of BFE, out in the middle of nowhere. So like the redneck way to say you're in the middle of nowhere is to say that you are in a place where the coon dogs are afraid of the hoot owls. And that's where I'm at. We got stuff out here. Let's put it that way. We got critters out here. If you can imagine it, or if you think it might be real, it's out here. So now we're towards the body of the coyote. We're away from the legs. We're on the body, and it's just scraping all this fur, all this fat and membrane down. And we'll get to a point where we have just a giant sheet of fur. Uh-oh. Okay, what is that? I don't know what that is, but I scraped too thin right there. So we'll just keep turning it like this. And you can see where it's hanging on right there. I can actually almost pull it down, but it's easier to just get a good bite and just push it down like that and get it all off there in one nice little go. Look at that. Keep your knife clean. Throw that fur down in the bucket. This is going to be a good one right here. Watch this. Oh, perfect. Perfect. So this piece here, I'm actually gonna cut that off and then keep scraping. All right. We're actually coming to the end on this one. Oh, look at that. I just had a big old, I was doing such a good job, I had a big old hunk of fat fall off right on my boot. All of these little pieces got to come off. All of them got to come off of there. So like, see this? This is all the fat that I've pushed. And we're not even to the bottom yet. I'm on the back of this coyote. Push that down like that. So this is the membrane that I was telling you about. And the fat is on my side of it. You gotta push that sucker down. Push it all the way to the bottom. All right, so we're coming to this big old crusty bit of fat here on the butt. And that is the worst. Look at that. Look at that, all fat. Big old fat lady coyote. And since that pushed off so nicely, I'm just gonna keep working my way around right there. Pushing off more and more at a time. Look at that. Good grief. So I've heard stories of people that use, deer fat, coyote fat. It's not like pork fat where when you melt it, it's nice and sweet smelling and you can cook with it or anything. This fat is like tallow. When you render it and then get it cooled down, it's hard and white like tallow, not like lard. Lard you can cook with. This stuff is, one, it'd probably make you sick because coyotes got some pests. That's what they have, some parasites. That's why I'm using gloves when I'm doing this. And look at that. That piece came off good too. And so they have some parasites that I don't want. And then they have these just awful smell to them. So I'm used to it, but my wife is not. My wife thinks that, like when I go in the house, she's gonna tell me hop in the shower. I'll walk in and she'll go, "You stink," and then tell me to go take a shower. Okay, we're coming to a hard section there. I seen a new comment from maybe somebody new. I meant, what state are you in? But that's okay, you don't have to say. What's the tool you're using called? So this is called a fleshing knife. There's a lot of different kinds of them. And this is one of the smaller ones they make, but I tailored my fleshing beam to this knife. So my fleshing beam has the same curve as my knife does, so I'm able to scrape like 3 inches at a time off of this coyote, which is really good. You might usually only get to scrape ½ an inch at a time if you have a knife that's not tailored to your board, or a board that's not tailored to your knife. Come on. The thing is, on this knife, this knife prevents me from pushing too hard because it actually is very thin. So if I'm not careful, I'll bend it right here in the middle. The other day I actually bent it like just clean in half, and I had to bend it back straight. And I was really worried that I was gonna not get it bent back straight correctly, and I was gonna end up with having to get a new knife. But that's not what happened. It worked itself out, and I was able to get where I was going. Okay, so we're gonna come back to this other leg and just scrape off. There we go, just like that. Scrape off all this junk. This coyote was eating well for sure. Just keep on pushing this crap off. till we get all the way done. Just like that. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm gonna show you this. Oh, that was a really good push. So, we're gonna finish that off. That whole sheet of fat, this is all fat from the back of this coyote. Whole sheet come off instantly. Just because I was patient and did it the right way. Some guys will use a draw knife for this. That's a specific type of knife. It's actually a woodworking knife where you pull it towards you, but on some animals you can turn it around and you can shove like this and scrape with it. But this is a fleshing knife, so it has two sides to it. It's got a dull side and a sharp side. And the dull side I use to push, and on the sharp side all I have to do is flip it like this, and the sharp side I can shave with it. I can shave the fat off. And some animals you have to shave the fat rather than push it. Like I have a badger hanging up over here that I caught, and that sucker, you have to shave the fat off those things. I mean, that gristle is tough to deal with. So now I'm here just at the back of the fur. Just push all this crud off. And this one's so fat, I may go over it again because it looks like I might have missed some. I don't want to leave any of it on here because if I do, it'll rancid. It'll go rancid, and I'll basically lose this whole pelt just because I was too lazy to redo this. Too lazy to check my work. But just to show you how far we've come, it's pretty smart. Tailored it. You use beef tallow? Yeah, I wouldn't eat it either. So the parasite that these have, it's not so much in the fat, it's in the muscle. I've heard of people that eat coyotes, and I can't do it. I can't do it. So this is how far we've come, where all that fat and grossness was on there, and now it's pretty much all gone. Uh-oh, I got a little bit of stuff there to get off that leg. I'll do that in just a second. But now, see, I can see, here, I'll get up here where you can see. So you can kind of see like these spots here. This is where I pushed it too thin, so that those little patches might pull. They might hold, they might also pull. And but you can see like this stuff here, that's all fat. That's all got to come off there. So I'm gonna have to redo this entire thing. Might have to start from the beginning. Let me wipe my bowl clean. Wipe that fat off this fleshing bean. And I'll put them on here, and we will start from the beginning and get all these little bits off. It's all got to come off. Tailored it. Yeah, so there's a lot of little tricks and stuff in trapping and putting up fur. And I can't claim to have come up with all this stuff myself. I just stuff like when I was learning to do this, I watched YouTube, just like you are right now. But I've had YouTube channels before and never really was able to stick with it, due to whatever my job would be at the time, or just not having the time, or whatever the reason. See, look at that, all fat. That's all got to come off. And I just was never able to stick with it. But I've been really consistent, on my YouTube channel, and I'm not even the only one that runs this channel. My buddy Aaron runs it with me, and we call ourselves the Oak Brush Boys. This is hence the name of the channel, where we hunt and we trap, and we do a lot of stuff all over, our place, and we really appreciate, I appreciate you sticking it out this long and watching. I know it's late, and you might even have better things to do than sit here and listen to me babbling about coyotes and bobcats. But every view helps, and if doing stuff like this is even going to get me, one extra, look at this, just all fat coming off of this joker. Doing stuff like this is going to even get me one extra a night of doing this, because I'll do this almost every night let's say this, almost every night for the next 2 months will be this. And I'll have different animals on here that I'll flesh, and it won't just be coyotes. Like I've got a bobcat right now in my freezer. Okay, this is gonna have to get cut off. In my freezer, that tomorrow I'll thaw him out and skin him, and then the next night I'll flesh that. Good grief. Okay. Just an incredible amount of fat on this coyote. I've never seen one like this. Skunks and badgers are usually like this. For whatever reason, they just put up the fat. But coyotes, they don't estivate the way those skunks and badgers will. This here is something else. Seems like every time I scrape, I have to throw a handful of fat down in the tub. Good grief. Just incredible. Just an incredible animal. This gal was eating well. She'd been eating lots of mice, lots of rabbits, and lots and lots and lots of baby deer. Lots of baby deer and lots of cows. Lots of cows. Ugh. Good night. Oh my gosh. Come on. Ugh. All right. I think we're getting down to brass tacks on this sucker. Yep. That is going to be all she wrote. I don't want to scrape it too thin. I need to get all the fat off, but I don't want to scrape it too thin. Run the risk of ruining it. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Looks like I got a little bit there that needs to come off. It's really hard to see in the video what I'm doing here, like what I'm really looking for, and I can describe it as membranes and stuff like that, and fat particles. But unless you do it yourself, this is one of those things where unless you do it yourself, you're never going to get the experience like what I'm doing. A badger would be interesting. I'm not busy right now. I'm just hanging out with my coy dog. I don't mind watching because I like it. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Nice prime pelt coyote. Dunsies. Let me grab a stretcher here, and then I'll put this one up. I'll put it on a stretcher, and then I'll show you one that I did last night that's actually probably ready to come off the board. And I'll show you what that looks like. So we're going to do the same process on this one that we did on the other. Get my tools out of the way. Get this out of the way. Probably need a couple of these things. Okay. So all we're going to do is that. And just get it on there, centered up best you can. You pull it down. Uh-oh, 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 I messed up. Hold it through an ear hole. That's not what we want. There we go. There, that's better. Much more better. Okay. Get her nose rolled over. There we go. So sometimes they don't want to, that nose doesn't want to stay over. And it can be a bit of an issue. Okay. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, this one was like a thin bodied coyote with just a ton of fat on it. Just a ton of fat. So, get where we can see here. And do just like we did on the last one where we trim these legs off. Just below the elbow. Just like that. And since this one's got so much fat, I'm actually gonna borax the whole thing because I need this to dry down in just a few days so I can use this stretcher again. So I'm actually gonna borax this whole kit. Whole kit and caboodle. I don't want this fat to cause any problems anywhere on this coyote. And I'm treating this one different just because of the sheer amount of fat that it had on it. I mean, that is insane how much fat it had. So you can see that. Got it in my mouth. You can see that borax really helps to dry things up. Cool. All right, so let's step around here and get my legs pinned out. This time I'll just get a little bit to put here on the leg. And pin this leg down. And then pin this other leg on top of that one. A little borax on there. Just where these legs are going to be contacting each other. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So we'll pull that down good and tight. Like that. And then flip it. And then we're going to go ahead and borax the tail. Where's a clump? I need a clump. Come here, clump. There we go. That's what I need right there. See, I got a clump. That's just going to go right down that tail. And then on the ears, here on the ears, I'm going to go up here by the eyes and really borax that well. And pin my eyes up with my stapler. Yeah, we do keep the nose on. It's just a presentation thing again. There's no use for it, it's just a presentation thing. Fun fact here on the nose, that didn't staple well. The nose is actually how you tell if they're all the way dry. If the nose is like really, really hard, that means that the coyote is appropriately dried. That's how you tell. Now you can tell your friends that. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna borax the rest of this joker. Just because it's got so much fat on it, I don't want to risk it on this thing. I'm not gonna be here for flipping this. Actually, I will be here in the morning to flip it, but I won't be here to really do much with it tomorrow. I'm gonna go deer hunting with my friend. You might see something on here about that as well. Probably not a stream or anything, but I might put up like a short or something from that. We put up a lot of shorts. You can find us on everything if you want to see. So like I'm a big time duck hunter. Big time duck hunter. Love duck hunting. And that's what I do the most actually. So if you want to see some cool duck hunting videos, definitely look at our other pages other than this one. Okay, so now I'm going to, I don't think I had a real good view earlier on, do you borax the furs for all the fatty ones? Do you keep it? So I did all the fat. I did the whole coyote on this one, right? Because of all the fat. On the last one, I didn't borax hardly anything except for the arms. Hardly anything but the arms. And that's just because of the fat on this one. That's the only reason. All right. So there we go. That is our finished product. Finished product. Gotta stretch that down. Stretch that down. Perfect. Now this one's ready to hang. It'll hang upside down just like that. Let me show you the difference in these. So you can see what I'm talking about when I say blue and prime. So this one here, see how it's almost just bleach white, right? Bleach white. This one is like a gray color. And that's because this one here was not prime yet. I'll still get good money out of them just because how high quality the fur is. And how thin the hide on this one is. But I won't get as much as I will for a prime one. Just a sec, and I will show you. Just a sec here, and I'll show you the difference in one. It is done. Actually, I need to take this one off the board, so it's perfect timing. Pretty much done with these tools too, so I'm going to clean these up. Okay. Duck hunting is also really cool. Are you hunting whitetails? Yeah, so this year we don't have any mule deer tags. In my area we have some mule deer tags that the state gives out throughout the year and some, that's pretty much it. Some mule deer tags. Let me show you this fur here. But we didn't draw any this year. We weren't fortunate enough to get a mule deer tag this year. So this is what, so like I'll flip them tomorrow. You dry these fur out, you dry them completely fur out, and you brush them to set the fur. So like all the fur on this one is just super, super nice. My ears are nice and perked out like that. And I'm gonna go ahead and take this one off. Here, let me brush some of the borax off the table. This really makes a mess. I have to clean this thing like every day because of how big of a mess it makes. Okay. So, I'll show you here. This is what's called a finished fur, right? So this is fleshed and dried, ready to go to the tannery, clean as a whistle fur. So you just take those hooks off, and then you pinch the board, and you pull it off. Just like that. When you hear that crackling sound, that is that papery kind of crackling sound. That is this fur being dry, perfectly dry. Just clean fur. The only mistake I made on this one is right here in the nose. When I was skinning it, I cut that nose just a little bit. But this fur, this is probably one of the best ones I've done. And I'll just brush him so you can see just how perfect he is. Perfect coyote. And from here
to here, like here to here, like this whole triangle or this whole rectangle is money. The belly's not worth anything because the fur is like really sparse on their bellies. You can see right here, it's actually almost bald in some places. But this coyote is cash money. This is a really good fur. This is the example that I show people. This type of stuff here, this is what I want people to see when they buy my furs. I mean, just look at the pattern. He's got a perfect V's on him. Just a great dog. Great coyote. That's what we want. That's the final product. And this is what I'll take to the fur auction. So I appreciate you sticking it out this long. I think I'm gonna shut the stream down and hang this up and then go to bed. It's late here, so I appreciate you watching. Thank you for subscribing. Maybe you'll join us again. Thanks.